Well, it is day 10 of the government shutdown, and I don't need to tell you this, but people are peeved. How mad are they? Well, remember when we were comparing their approval ratings to cockroaches or to toenail fungus? New polls by Public Policy Polling found that members of Congress are now less popular than witches, zombies, jury duty, potholes, hipsters, the DMV, the IRS, dog poop, and, oh yeah, hemorrhoids. Congress's approval rating now stands at just 5%, according to the Associated Press. 61% of Americans lay the majority of the blame on Republicans, although 52% say President Obama could be doing more to help the situation. But there does seem to be some progress within the walls of Capitol Hill today. House Republicans have proposed a 6-week extension to the nation's $16.7 trillion debt limit as a way of avoiding the first ever U.S. default. So is there hope yet for this unpopular bunch? To tell me more, I'm joined now by Anthony Randazzo, Director of Economic Research at the Reason Foundation, and I can guarantee you that Anthony is much more popular than zombies or witches or what have you. Hey there, Anthony. So let's start off with the latest news that's coming out from the GOP. They want to extend the debt limit temporarily, but continue this debate over spending. Does that seem like a tangible solution to pacify the stock market?
Well, in terms of a solution for the stock market, I don't necessarily think so. I mean, my popularity is probably based on the audience that you ask. And when it comes to Congress's popularity and you talk to the stock market, they're not necessarily looking at those polls. They're looking at a much more long-term picture. And the simple reality is that the president doesn't want to negotiate at all on the government shutdown. And he said if Congress passes a clean debt ceiling raise for the next 6 weeks, he'll accept it and he'll sign it, but he still doesn't want to negotiate on the shutdown.
So what are we looking at here? How tangible is this debt limits solution really, or are we just kicking the can down the road?
Well, the debt ceiling's always been a can kicked down the road. From the outset, it was pretty clear the Republicans didn't really want to play with fire on the debt ceiling. The Republicans buy into the same idea that Democrats do, that if the United States government defaults, it's an economic catastrophe. I don't necessarily think that's the case. But from the outset, it didn't look like they were going to really play chicken, and this offer on the table, I think, proves that the debt ceiling is a mere political tool. It doesn't mean anything. When push comes to shove, both parties are happy to increase the amount of debt that the U.S. government has. We probably should just get rid of it. We'd be much better off with a spending cap.
Sure. Well, and I know that this is also coming, if they do, in fact, kick it down the road, it comes during the holiday season, which could make it a little more tricky when it comes to that debt debate. Now, an AP poll found that 4 in 5 Americans say they haven't felt any personal effects from this shutdown. Should they expect to feel it sooner or later?
It all depends on what it is you do. So the people who have been feeling the effects the most are either government workers or people that use national parks, people that are fishermen on the federal coastlines. They'll continue to feel the same effects of the shutdown. The simple reality is, and I'm sure that the White House says internal polling, that most people haven't felt the effects. And that, I think, has made the president feel comfortable in continuing to push back on the Republicans and say, look, I gave in to you before in 2011. I'm not going to give in again. And the Republicans thought that they could push around the president like they had in the past. It looks like they can't. As long as that polling suggests that most people aren't feeling the effects, the White House will probably continue to take this stand.
So, Anthony, we are in day 10. How much longer can we go on like this?
You know, it all is going to depend on really who blinks in this political game, and it's unfortunate it's a political game because it really shouldn't be, but I think that's what's going on in Washington. I mean, I've spent about 5 years there. I know people on Capitol Hill, and they see this in political terms. They want to be able to claim victory. Unfortunately, both sides are going to claim victory no matter what happens, so they probably could just go through with anything. Each side is still going to claim they won this game. So how we get out of this, somebody is going to have to politically blink as the language has been going along. One side is going to have to give in. The federal government is not going to remain shut down for 3, 4, 5 months. It's just a matter of which side begins to feel the political pain to the point where they think that they have to break.
And I'm glad that you brought that political game up. One of the major criticisms that I have heard coming out from the Democrats anyway is that the shutdown is a result of a fringe group of Republicans. However, according to that same AP poll that I referenced earlier, more than 4 in 10 Republicans in the public identified with the Tea Party and insist that their leaders hold firm in this standoff. So is this idea of an ideological standoff becoming more popular, even if it means closing shop on the entire country?
Well, the thing is if you are a Republican that is in a district that got elected with 60, 70%, and it was a Tea Party wave, as much as Congress has a low approval rating, you're fine. It's moderate Republicans, people who are in these districts that are incumbents who are now losing in the polls to Democrats that care the most about it. You do have a group of people that actually, kind of like the president, don't worry about being voted out of office come next November. And so as long as those people have the strongest voice, they will try to continue, and they will see this as a political game. Unfortunately, I think that you do have the Tea Party looking at this as a game, and you also have the president who's looking at it as a game. He doesn't want to break his will. He doesn't want to give in. He wants to make sure that the Republicans can't push him around anymore. I understand, and I sympathize with where he's coming from. They both see it as a game. I don't know what the outcome is, but we'll have to wait and see.
We'll have to wait and see, indeed, and all of us tend to be the pawns in this political chess match. Anthony Randazzo, Director of Economic Research at the Reason Foundation, thank you so much.
Thanks for having me.